Repression and suppression. So, what is repression? Repression is when we push things down inside, but we don't even do it consciously. We push painful experiences or unacceptable influences out of our conscious thought. And we do this unconsciously. We don't even know we're doing it, but we do it to decrease anxiety or feelings of pain. We don't even know we do it. Freud thought, the Sigmund Freud, who had come up with this idea, thought that they come out in dreams, or they come out in slips of the tongue, or like for what they call Freudian slips, or even in phobias, like maybe you were held down as a kid, but you don't even remember being held down, but you're claustrophobic after that, or something like that. But that's repression. Repression is unconscious. You don't even know it's happening. Suppression is different in the fact that it's a conscious pushing down of these emotions or feelings. Maybe it's inappropriate to act out or say something like at work, so you suppress your feelings. You do it consciously so that you can keep your job. So repression is unconscious, and suppression is a conscious doing. So what are the problems with this? Well, the problem is that we can repress, but our emotions don't go away. They stay inside us. Just because we push them down, they're still there and they still affect our behavior. They can also affect, repression can also affect our health. It's pretty well documented that lots of problems come from this over time, this repression. And it can lead to coping mechanisms. People that repress a lot, can have substance abuse issues. They don't want to think about it, so they drink, or they overeat, or they maybe even have an inability to connect with their spouse or kids. So there's a lot of problems with this repression. So how do you know if you're repressing, if it's unconscious? I tend to think that if I overreact, or maybe sometimes avoid or underreact, that there may be some repression involved in this. Otherwise, why the big response? So that's one way to see. For example, maybe you have problems connecting with your spouse because, maybe as a child, your dad was never there, or was gone a lot. So when you go away, even just for a little bit, or when your spouse goes away, even just for a little bit, you have reactions of either anger, or you avoid them and create distance. And you may not even know why you're doing that, but it may be, and probably is, because of some sort of repressed memory from your childhood. Or maybe you went through a divorce and you got remarried, and maybe that person did something to you to cause a lack of trust, or you just felt abandoned. So now you go into your new relationship and you don't even know why you're doing it, but you keep them at a distance because you fear that again, but you don't even know why. It's unconscious. So learning to bring these repressed memories out can help us move on and not have the consequences that come along with, keeping the repressed memories there. So how do we deal with these repressed emotions? What do we do? How do, once we do become aware of them, what do we do with them? And one thing we can do is just learn to speak about our emotions in the moment that they're happening. And Not necessarily to get angry or upset, but just to say what we're feeling, be in touch with what we're feeling about that, and say it. Like if something was hurtful about the past, then we need to talk about that and let that out, and or talk about it with the people we're in a relationship with now, so that we can deal with it and not keep pushing something down. And when that comes out and everybody understands what's going on, then we have hope to move past that and to see it as something different. So once we bring it to consciousness, when we're ready, we can reframe it. We can see ourselves not really as a victim of something like that, but as a survivor of that, which helps us reframe it. Or see that we have another chance with somebody else. Or, just we reframe the situation from a victim to a victor. Another thing that can help is if we stay in the present moment, because repression, we're repressing something from the past. And I'm not saying that's easy, but it's one tool in the toolbox, right? Staying in the present, these problems aren't in the present, they're in the past. So knowing this, knowing that we've repressed something by looking at our emotional reaction, remember that's just a first step. It can be a long process, but if you bring the things out, they can help you, and help you grow past it. Another example, maybe you grew up in a very conservative or religious background, and any feelings you've had that are contrary to that, you've repressed, even though maybe that's not your environment anymore. So it can go the other way too. So, man, repression happens all the time, and it happens in many different scenarios. So learning to look out for it is the first step in moving past it, so that we can heal our body and not have all that upset deep down inside us, and we can have some peace. We can move forward, and we can have better relationships. So be patient with it, and investigate. It's the information age. There's many things out there to help you, and good luck with it. And I would appreciate it if you could like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, so I can keep some things coming out. And hope it was helpful.